Hello everybody, how's it going? We've got Adarsh here with us today and he's going to talk about machine learning.
Thank you for having me, Dan and Usman.
Oh, it's fine.
Pleasure. So do you want to talk about what machine learning is, first of all?
Oh yeah, so machine learning is a way to make computers do things without being explicitly programmed. So what I mean by that is, so in traditional programming, what happens is like the inputs are like a bunch of data and a set of rules.
Right.
And then the output is the answer, we have the data, rules, and answer. In machine learning, what happens is we have a bunch of data and we have a lot of answers.
Okay.
That's provided as a label, and we want the machine learning algorithm to figure out what the sets of rules are. So it's completely opposite.
Right.
And mathematically, it's like, so we have a function, and we want to train it on the training data that classifies well and also generalizes in the unseen data. So that's in a nutshell what machine learning is.
No, but when Adarshi said that you have mathematical functions to justify it and to do that procedure, what kind of mathematical functions are you talking about?
The mathematical functions can be anything. It can be like as simple as a quadratic function, it can be a cubic function, and at the same time it can be very, very big, just like power to the hundreds and the key is just to find the minimum point of the function.
Okay.
It's like we call it minimize the loss, and
Right.
that's when machine learning actually starts to perform well.
Oh, okay. But others, since I'm just starting to learning it, how would you recommend that I start with it?
So there are two basic parts of machine learning. First part is the mathematical bit, and the second part is the programming bit, the coding bit. In mathematics, so there are like four main pillars. I would call there's linear algebra, there is multivariable calculus, there is statistics and probability.
Okay.
So, and on the computing side, there are Python and Julia are the most popular programming languages that are used to write machine learning algorithms. So you need to have a solid understanding of both of them if you want to become a good machine learning engineer.
Right. And where do you suggest me finding the right sources to learn machine learning?
Not the sources, but I would suggest you find a project that you are really interested in.
Right.
And then start learning the mathematical background, or what things are required, and at the same time learn how to code those mathematical stuff side by side. I think that would be the best way to learn. However, if you are a complete beginner, then Coursera has a really good course.
Okay.
It's free. You can audit it. It's by Andrew Ng, which is like an assistant professor in Stanford.
Yeah.
And in the Coursera course, he talks about these machine learning algorithms in brief, without going into a lot of techniques.
Yeah.
But if you are really, really interested in, you can take the CS229 course. That's all the video series is available on YouTube, and you can take the certification of it. And that's when he goes into a lot of techniques and a lot of mathematical details.
So is that all free?
No, both you can audit them,
Okay.
but to have the certificate, you need to pay for it.
Okay.
You can complete it, but just to get a certification, you can actually have to pay for it.
Yes, exactly.
But what about their financial aid? Do they have some kind of that?
For financial aid, I'm not sure of that. On Coursera, there is a financial aid.
Yeah.
So you can get the certificate for the machine learning course on Coursera,
Yeah.
and there is a financial aid available for it. But for Stanford one, I'm not sure actually.
Oh, okay, so you can actually get the financial aid if you apply to Coursera platform, and you can actually proceed with it and get the certification just in order to verify that you have studied that course, right?
Yeah.
And okay, for instance, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I'm done with the basics, I'm done with the maths bit, I'm done with practicing it. So are there any practical resources that I can use on web, or any other thing that I can practice my machine learning skills onto?
Oh, there are loads of it. You can practically apply machine learning into any kind of field. You can transform healthcare, you can transform automotive industries as well.
Yeah.
So one of the emerging field of research is self-driving cars,
Yeah.
and machine learning is heavily used in it. And to give my perspective, I use machine learning to predict the upcoming Premier League matches.
Right.
Oh,
using
that's
historical
That's
data.
good.
Yeah.
And I use support vector machine. This is one of the machine learning
Yeah.
techniques.
Okay.
And right now, as a part of my 4th year project, I am building a text recognition system that works in real time in a video feed
Yeah.
using a convolutional neural network.
Oh, that's really amazing. But like Adarsh, you mentioned convolutional neural networks and like neural networks and vector machines and support vector machines and stuff like that. But like, isn't it hard like to code all of it by scratch and like implement that into your code, or are there some resources that I can, for instance, use about?
Oh, so I think while you are learning it, I suggest you learn it, you try to code it from scratch to actually know what the algorithm is doing.
Yeah.
But once you get the hang of it, there are frameworks, machine learning
You can
frameworks.
take bits of it.
Yeah, TensorFlow, Keras, where you can do rapid prototyping, and where traditionally if you had to write it by scratch, that would take you probably 100 lines.
Yeah.
TensorFlow or Keras can implement it 1 or 2 lines.
But like, in all of it, like Keras, TensorFlow, PyTorch, scikit-learning, and all of the OpenCV and stuff like that, which one would you actually recommend that is the best one? And the easiest one for our basic users, like for instance, Dan is starting it.
If I wanted to start.
So what would be the one library that you would actually suggest him to get his hands used to?
I think it actually depends on what project you are interested in. So for instance, I'm using OpenCV for the text recognition in a video feed that requires a lot of computer vision algorithms, and OpenCV is a library dedicated to it. So it really depends on it. However, TensorFlow is the most basic framework. It is they call it low-level frameworks, and other high-level frameworks such as Keras that can work on top of TensorFlow. So if you just want to start learn how the frameworks work, TensorFlow would be your first place, and is made by Google, so there is extensive documentation online.
And that means it's free too.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, are there any libraries that are paid or something like that? Because I don't want to start off with a project and then just be stuck over it because they need further license for
That's
approvals.
always happened.
Not libraries. There are something called API, application programming interfaces, and for them you need to pay for it. If you use. So what happens is sometimes IBM.
Can't you do affiliate programs or something with APIs?
Yeah, if you have license, then you can use them. But sometimes, a general program that most people would want to use, the companies they make it, and then they charge you on the basis of how many times you call it.
Oh,
okay.
So that's how they charge it. So on the basis of that, maybe 25p per call. So that will help you make your program a little bit more robust or free from error because they have been tested by experts. But if you are a beginner, if you just want to learn it, I suggest you start everything from scratch.
Thank you very much, Adarsh, for your time with us, and thank you for this little introduction about
machine
learning.
But definitely, if some of you have questions and you want to pitch it to others, you can definitely leave a comment or any other thing, and we'll forward that to others.
Thank you very much.
Peace out.
Bye.